they describe as a guns for hire scheme. Officers have made 3 arrests and seized 2 guns in connection with multiple investigations. They believe the weapons are tied to dozens of crimes. Investigators say a common thread is the hiring of local young men to carry out acts of violence. They include an incident in which shots were fired at the U.S. consulate in March and other attacks targeting synagogues and apartment buildings. The arrests include the alleged killer of a Toronto police officer who was shot during a raid last Thursday. So what do these developments mean to those in the communities most affected? To find out, we've connected with Richard Robertson, the Director of Research and Advocacy at B'nai B'rith Canada. Richard, Jewish schools and synagogues were on the list of targeted establishments. How has your community been reacting to these recent events?
Well, the arrests bring some closure, but quite frankly, Andrew, the more we learn about these incidents, the more cause for concern and alarm there is. There's a lot that remains unknown, and it only is fueling the anxiety within the community as we have been grappling with a national crisis of anti-Semitism. As you said, our houses of worship, our schools have been on lists, they've been targeted, Jewish-owned businesses have been targeted. So we're waiting for answers. We need clarity on who is behind these attacks, who is paying for these guns for hire, and what can be done to ensure that a situation like what we've been witnessing doesn't repeat itself.
Mm-hmm. And we heard the Toronto police chief say they don't know who. That's absolutely key to the investigation. They want to know. There is this current police investigation, but what else could they be doing to ensure the safety of those in targeted groups like the Jewish community in Toronto?
The police have been doing a lot in terms of making sure that they have a physical presence around Jewish infrastructure. We need to ensure that all resources are being devoted right across the country, and including our international partners, to getting at who is ultimately paying for these guns for hire, who is responsible for the targeting of our community infrastructure. We also need to be doing more across all levels of government to get at the root causes of anti-Semitism. To target the Jewish infrastructure, somebody was motivated by an animus against our community. We need to understand who that is. We need to identify what was driving them, and we need to rid it from our society.
I just want to play something that the Toronto police chief had to say, and then I'll ask you about it. Let's listen.
What we know is that bad actors are using criminal elements in our city to carry out these dangerous incidents. And it is clear that some of the people hiring these criminals want to create a sense of fear in our communities, including in the Jewish community.
So when you hear those words, I mean, what kind of goes through your head?
It's chilling. This is a community that has been dealing with a previously unimaginable rise in anti-Semitism for the last almost 3 years now. And to know that there were individuals who had such hatred towards the community, that wanted to cause such fear in the community, that they would hire guns to attack our community infrastructure, it's beyond unsettling. But it provides hope that these arrests were made. I thank the chief for recognizing that, you know, this is a situation where somebody wanted to cause harm and fear to our community. And we hope that we'll get some more details soon. What's important, Andrew, though, is that we treat these matters as what they are. This was an attempt to intimidate and to increase fear amongst the Jewish community. That's terror, and it really needs to be called out for that. This is not, an everyday criminal activity. It doesn't matter who the people behind the guns were. The intent of the people who are ultimately responsible for this, who hired those guns, they wanted to cause terror within the community.
What has your organization been doing to kind of curb the sense of unease among Jewish community members in the Greater Toronto area?
The silver lining of this rise in hatred has been our community coming together. And so our community is steadfast in its resolve. We will not be intimidated. We will not be fearful. We will continue to go about our lives, as is our right as Jewish Canadians. But there's work that's being done within the community to ensure the safety of the community and to support law enforcement in their efforts to protect our community. And we will continue to do so until Jews are no longer the targets of hatred or threatened by violence or terrorism in our own communities.
It's young people that the police say were enlisted to carry out these violent acts of gun violence. As someone who works to champion the rights of marginalized communities, what's your message to other teens who may be targeted to commit these kinds of crimes?
We are failing our children, Andrew. We have allowed extremism and radicalization and other nefarious elements to indoctrinate and corrupt our children online. B'nai B'rith has been leading efforts and calls to enhance digital literacy amongst Canadian youth and to hold the social media platforms that are being utilized to engage in things like the hiring of guns accountable and to ensure that they are properly regulated. So my message to youth would be, do not be dissuaded. Learn about how to keep yourself safe online and ensure that you are inculcated against the risks of indoctrination.
Are you hopeful that the police, Toronto Police, their other partners, the RCMP, FBI, that they will find out who is behind this, who is paying these young people?
The community and its advocacy organizations are devoting their resources to it. I'm thrilled to hear that the Toronto Police is working with federal law enforcement and with international partners. And I am hopeful that together the combined effort of the community and law enforcement will get behind this.
Richard, thank you. Richard Robertson of B'nai B'rith Canada in Toronto.
Thank you for having me on, Andrew.
This